Okay, this is a Chevy Express van, and it came here. We did the trans on here, and it's Century Towing. Did the trans, and it is slipping here. So we're gonna have to do something with this trans. Did a scan here, just a quick scan. We find out that you got a P0172 or P0121 throttle position, pedal position sensor switch A circuit range performance. So that will cause the transmission to go bad. Let me show you all. Go look at that, Brian. Oh, there's Brian from Hands On Auto Training over here. He coming to do some scanning and programming. All right up here. Here is a ATRA bulletin, and it's throttle. Well, here it says what controls your transmission. So you got mass airflow, throttle position, map sensor, the computer, of course, but throttle position. Here it goes. The throttle position sensor measures throttle and gas pedal position. It's used to determine engine load. When it fails, it can cause late, harsh shifts, early soft shifts, or it can result in no shifts at all. It also affects engine performance. So this is a code that you do not want to have because it will destroy the transmission. So this is inside of the Chevy Express. Well, let's get back over here. Engineers made this thing that way. Okay, there it is, P0121 throttle position, pedal circuit, switch A circuit range performance, and it's a red code, so it's a hard code, and the trans is slipping. Okay, so this trans got to come back out, and then this is going to have to be fixed. We have this transmission of this van out here, sitting here on the desk here. Now here is a problem. Here's the situation. When you have a problem here, a situation where it's not the customer's fault that the throttle position sensor is bad. Some can say it is because if a check engine light come on, they should go and get it straightened out. As long as some people can drive, they will still drive with the check engine light on. It's definitely not the installer's problem when there is no code of a throttle position or throttle position sensor, mass airflow, map sensor, which are load codes. What that means, it allows the transmission or the engine computer to sense the load so it can up the pressure in the transmission. The problem then would be who would be at fault? The engineer, for tying sensors like that to the transmission that can damage a major component like this in the vehicle. Which what they should do is build software into the computer to up the pressure in such a major thing as the transmission when a load is not sensed, or if a sensor is not sensing the signal. It should in no way make it have less pressure. So now you're faced with the situation where the installer have to take the transmission out and repair the transmission and put it back in, and then keep the vehicle and fix the part that's causing the transmission to not have enough pressure. Okay, so who's at fault here? The customer, owner of the vehicle, the rebuilder, which is the transmission shop, or the engineers that engineered it that way. Now, if the transmission or the vehicle came in with a code like throttle position, mass airflow, then you can say, well, perhaps the transmission shop should have known, based on experience studying that it can cause an issue. But what if it wasn't there? Was it this happened 2 or 3 months ago, which this is what happened? What do? Do you start changing when you go to rebuild a transmission? Do you start changing the mass airflow, the throttle position sensor, and map sensor every time you do a transmission on all cars? If it's over a certain amount of miles, so, hey, we're going to change this because this may go bad because it's already got 170,000 miles. Do you do that? I don't know. But those of you who are in the transmission field or in the mechanic field, let me know your opinions on that. This happened one time before. I would say once in 4 or 5 years for me. So what should be done? How do you handle a situation? Now I got to go and take this back apart and repair it. And then we got to fix that that throttle position sensor code that's on this van. And you can't let it out without fixing it. Okay, this is that transmission out of that van that is sitting over there that had the throttle position sensor code. This was rebuilt about approximately 2 months ago, and the only thing that happened was it burnt up the 3/4 clutches. Okay, everything else was okay, but the 3/4 clutches were burnt up. Now I'm gonna have to clean everything out and put another set of clutches in there. The band, everything was good, was fine, but the 3/4 clutches was burnt up. So this is an example again of how owners of vehicles cannot drive around with their check engine light on because they don't know what the engineers have done to that sensor. They don't know what that sensor is supposed to operate or what damage it can do to something bigger. And we read what they said the throttle position sensor operates, especially it affects engine performance, it affects a whole bunch of stuff. In the transmission, it can cause late shifts, hard shifts, soft shifts, or no shifts at all. So soft shifts is bad because it will burn something up. The pressure is not where it's supposed to be because the computer cannot, it's a load sensor. The computer doesn't know that you're calling for more pressure or throttle by the throttle position sensor. It doesn't know because once you depress the throttle, if it can't see that you're calling for more pressure, it won't allow more pressure to the transmission. Okay, so it's a load sensor. Now this vehicle here is not, once it's put back together, it's not going back. It's not leaving until that throttle position sensor problem is fixed. It could be the sensor, it could be the wiring, maybe the computer is malfunctioning. It could be anything like that, but this will be fixed. Okay, so that you don't have to go through this again. All right, so again, evap, if it's an evap code, perhaps you have no problem, but you don't even know if the engineers are going to tie an evap sensor into the circuit of a transmission. I know one thing, Ford, they tie sensors, they pigtail grounds and stuff on all types of wires. The rear view mirror fell off on one vehicle and the car stopped shifting. Now why did they do that? Tie the rear view mirror on something so important as a transmission circuit. What was something else that we came across? Cadillac Catera, the marker light was messed up and wires were disconnected some type of way, and the transmission range sensor had a problem because they had it on the circuit. So you never know what these engineers in their white suits up there crossing their legs are playing games and doing with their cars, because they feel that they're very intelligent in the first place, and we got to see how intelligent they really are when they mix something that's minor onto something that's major. You know, we have to pay attention to that intelligence of theirs to make sure that we don't become that intelligent. Okay, so this is what we have to do here. We're going to put this back, put a set of 3/4 clutches back in here. These all burnt up, and test everything out. Put it back inside that van, and then handle that throttle position sensor.